call the Orange City Commission meeting for November 6, 2024 to order, please. I hope you all were greeted tonight by our planning director, Stephen Spraker, and our utilities manager, Bob Priest. They served as our greeters tonight. We hope you all felt welcome. We're going to go ahead and do the introductions of our staff. From my far right, your far left, our recording secretary, Taylor Lockert. Next is our city clerk, Susan Daughters. Next, our Zone 1 City Commissioner, Lori Tolland.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Next is our City Commissioner from Zone 2, Travis Sargent.
Good evening, welcome.
Next is our Zone 3 City Commissioner, Susan Persis.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome.
Next to Commissioner Persis is our City Manager, Joy Shanahan. Up on the dais with us tonight is Assistant City Manager, Sean Finley. And in the second row of the audience, Claire Whitney. Next to Sean on the dais is City Attorney Randy Hayes. And on my far left and your far right are Police Captain Christopher Roos and Fire Captain Nate Portier. And for you listening online, I'm Deputy Mayor Harold Riley. And at this time, if you please silence your cell phones. And if you're able to, please rise for our invocation. By Reverend Floyd Narcisse of the historic New Bethel AME Church.
Let's go to the Lord of prayer. To our Holy Company this evening, first to say thank you. Thank you for your love and your kindness. For God, on tonight, God, we ask that you come into this place like never before. Some of you have hurt hearts, heavy hearts on what happened on last night. But we know victory is ours on today in Moment Beach. So Lord, we ask that you would touch every elected official under the sound of my voice to know that Moment Beach is the best city in Volusia County. And we are moved to be that the best is still yet to come. So help us on tonight, God, to help us be better. Help us to understand. Help us to take it all in. But help us to know that love is more than anything. So help us to love one another. Help us to love this city. And help this city be the best that we can be. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. In Jesus' name we pray. Let everyone bow their heads and say amen.
Amen.
And amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is this microphone works. This is the time of the evening we do our special presentations for people who have contributed so much to our community. And at this time, I'd like to call down Susan Persis. And I'd like to call the rest of the commission down as well. Susan, on behalf of the City Commission of Ormond Beach, we'd like to present you this plaque, Crystal, for your years of service on the commission. Commissioner Sargent's going to present you with this beautiful clock for the time you've invested in our city. We'd also like to present you with this coin from the City of Ormond Beach. And we also have a proclamation for you. Thank you. Well, you can't hold it. You're Commissioner. Former Mayor Persis will come up and help us out.
I'd be happy
And I'll read the proclamation. Whereas Susan Persis has lived in Ormond Beach for 35 years and in Volusia County for most of her life, she has dedicated her career in retirement to being a public servant. Susan has served the city with unwavering commitment, advocating for initiatives that enriched our parks, support families, and laid the groundwork for a more vibrant community. And whereas Susan graduated from Seabreeze High School, earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education from Florida State University, go Noles, and a master's degree in educational leadership and administration from Nova Southeastern University. And whereas her commitment to public service is evident in her 29 years with Volusia County Schools, 13 of those as a school principal. Susan was the president of the Florida State Association of School Administrators, president of the Florida Association of Elementary and Middle School Principals, and awarded the Florida Innovative Principal of the Year Award. Her background in education brought a unique and thoughtful perspective to the commission, always reminding us of the value of community. And whereas Commissioner Persis served on the Ormond Beach City Commission from 2018 to 2024, and Deputy Mayor from 2020 to 2022. Carl Persis, her husband and longtime public servant, served on the City Commission as mayor from 1999 to 2003, and then many years as a Volusia County School Board member. And whereas Susan demonstrated her passion by serving on the city's Quality of Life Board, prior to being elected, and after elected commissioner, serving on the Ormond Beach Main Street Board, Halifax Humane Society leadership team, a sustaining member of the Junior League of Daytona Beach, appointed to the National League of Cities Environmental Committee, and being recognized by the Florida Elks Association along with Carl as Humanitarians of the Year in 2018. And whereas Susan's dedication to the community will forever be evident in her efforts to engage with residents, business owners, commitment to environment and history, and enhancing the beauty and quality of life in Ormond Beach, where everyone can thrive. Now, therefore, I, Harold Briley, Deputy Mayor of the City of Ormond Beach, along with our entire City Commission, do hereby proclaim November 6, 2024, as a day to recognize Susan Persis and urge all residents to join in honoring with deepest gratitude her many contributions to the city and community that inspire all of us together for a brighter and beautiful future. Thank you, Susan. Say something.
Boy, I wasn't prepared for this. I just want to thank.
And I didn't know about it either.
Okay, so I can't blame you. No, gosh, thank you all for this. Really, I have so enjoyed serving on the City Commission of Ormond Beach the last 6 years. It's been my pleasure. It's been really just something that I have loved, just absolutely loved. And I'm going to miss all of you very much, but things move on, things happen, and we just move forward. But I admire each one of you. Travis, you're amazing. Lori, Harold, Kristen, everybody that I've worked with are just great people. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, and I will always love Ormond Beach. It's my home, it's my city, and it's just, I just love all the citizens. I just want to thank all of you again. Thank you so much for this surprise. It was really nice. Thanks.
Get a picture? Get a picture. Yeah, you and Carl. think Commissioner Persis held it together better than I did. Okay, at this time I'll call on City Manager Joy Shanahan for an update to our agenda. Okay, the City Manager has requested we remove item number 11 from the agenda. Is there any objection to removing item number 11?
Move
So
approval.
moved.
Any discussion? Would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Tolland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we have under item 4A, a Hurricane Milton recovery update, and call on our Assistant City Manager, Sean Finley, to discuss that. I'm not sure your mic's working either.
So we had a couple weeks ago, we had our Hurricane Milton, which we're in the middle of recovery. As you all know, a hurricane is a couple days to get ready for it. It is a very short time that the actual hurricane is here, and then is a longer time to recover for it. So we are in that process right now to follow up the follow-up of it. Hurricane preparation doesn't start that weekend before the hurricane, though. We started doing sandbags in early August. We put a notice out to everybody to remind them that we're in hurricane season, and we had our first day to pick up have a staff day in August 1st. We did a couple other ones, but we really hit it hard that weekend before Milton came, where we had a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday sandbag pickup, where we help folks in town pick them up. We did over 3,000 bags that first day. Now, this is, keep in mind, we do a limit of 10 bags per person, so that means 311 people showed up on Sunday. Another 300 showed up on Monday, and then over 400 showed up on Tuesday. So all in all, we did just over 10,000 bags in those 3 days, which is quite a few. Sunday and Monday, we were just at Nova Rec. Tuesday, we opened up a secondary spot at the sports complex. That helped us get some more. We're able to serve more people and get them able to get back home and finish their preparations for the storm. The question that always comes up with a hurricane is how many inches of rain did we get? And with this one, we recorded at our water reclamation facility 23 inches of rain. And the reason why I show this map, this is a map, this is the nomograph for the eastern United States. And a lot of times we talk about the 100-year storm. And the 100-year storm in this part of Volusia County is right at 11 inches. 11 inches of rain in a 24-hour period of time is a lot of rain. 23 inches of rain, which we got over the course of about 18 hours, is an unbelievable amount of rain. And so when you have that amount of rain, you're going to have different effects from it. You're going to have to try to recover from it. You're going to have to try to do everything we can to be ready for it during time. One of the stories that I've spoken to a lot, during the night of the hurricane, we were in the EOC. We got a call that we need to go out and check something out. So we got in the MRAP about 3 o'clock in the morning. One of our hot spots is Fleming Avenue. It's one of the areas that we know is the first to flood and is usually one of the last to recover. And I wanted to see, while we were out, what it looked like. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, Fleming Avenue was still passable by a regular passenger vehicle. There was still about 4 feet on either side of the crown of the road that was not covered with water. 7 o'clock in the morning, Captain Smith from the police department, who lives in that Central Park area, came back to the EOC and let us know that Fleming Avenue was about 12 to 18 inches underwater. So in that period of time, from 3 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning, that road went from being essentially not underwater to having enough water that a regular passenger vehicle and even a regular pickup truck probably shouldn't be passing that roadway. So I think that's the one that gobsmacked me for a couple of days there, just trying to gather that. I know this map is a little bit hard to read. This shows the streets that flooded that were still flooded on Friday following the hurricane, Wednesday night into Thursday. If you take that and look at what we did, what looked like on Sunday, we were pretty much recovered. There was very few roads that were still underwater on Sunday. This is a little bit of testament to the type of the storm that we had here. When we've had Hurricane Ian had Nicole. We had a storm that was a lot of winds that came in from our northeast side, stayed there, sat there for a while, kept those tides up. We had a king tide, we had a full moon, we had a lot of things that were contributing. We didn't have that problem with this one as much as we've had in past storms, and that allowed that water to get out a little bit quicker, even though we had much more rain than we did during those storms. We were very fortunate. We've put in some measures since those past storms to help us with those low-lying areas. Our areas that we see flooded most are the areas near the middle school and in Central Park. We're working to get some check valves on those so that way when we have those after the storm effects, we get through the storm and whatever flooding we have is that flooding from the rainfall, not so much that 2 days later where that tide is continuing to rise, continuing to come up and hits the people that much later. This map shows those houses that were flooded, and we've included some different storms here. We've included the 2009 storm. We've included Ian and Nicole. Again, I apologize for it being a little bit hard when we're trying to show the whole city. The properties that are the purple dots there are the ones that flooded in the no-name storm of 2009. If you look at the properties that are the black circles with the yellow stars, those are the ones that flooded this past one. I think, Stephen, we're at 44, 45 confirmed homes that flooded during this one, as opposed to over 100 that flooded in 2009. We've made some steps. Our steps to improve Central Park has helped a lot of those people. We still have some work to work on. We have that large stormwater pump. We have two projects in Fleming, in Central Park area that are still underway. One is the small Fleming project that we've awarded here and that we're getting ready to construct. The other one is the large pump station, which should hopefully take us to that next level, and I'm hoping to virtually eliminate any flooding in that part of town. The other thing that we really keep an eye on are our utilities, and our utilities are very important to us. Our water treatment plant, our water reclamation plant stayed fully operational prior to the storm, during the storm, and immediately after the storm. We had a vehicle that was damaged. We had minor damage to some of our production wells. We had 56 of our sanitary sewer lift stations went without power. So we managed those with the generators that we have, try to keep them going. We had one water main break on North John Anderson that our water crews were out immediately after the storm and repaired. And we had one force main that's giving us trouble on Riverside Drive. So we're going to do an emergency repair of that should eliminate that for future. When we have the high water levels and have the high rainfall events, our PEP tanks in Western Norman are always kind of subject to that. We had 17 additional PEP tanks break during the storm. And so these are things that we are continuing to work on, continuing to mitigate and try to move forward from. Debris removal, that's really the final piece, and that's where we're at now, and that's our recovery. We have activated Crowder Gulf immediately after the storm. We actually activated them prior to the storm. They were on the ground within 3 or 4 days following the storm. We have consistently every day since we activated them had 10 trucks on the street, and that's in addition to what we do with our normal trash pickup. Those trucks are picking up about 3,000 cubic yards of vegetative debris per day. Right now, we're just over 50,000 cubic yards. We estimate that we have about 150,000 cubic yards out there, so we're about a third of the way done. In earnest, about 23 days of collection. In order to get fully reimbursed, we need to get that done in 90 days. We should have no trouble getting that done. I think that we should, within these next couple weeks, be done with our first pass. I'm hoping that we can get a second pass authorized from FEMA to be able to do that to anybody who didn't get theirs out prior to it. That's a little bit of the trouble with getting them out on the streets right away. Is people don't have a chance to get all their vegetation out, and as many streets as we have to cover and as much as we have to pick up. Sometimes if you're on that first street, you're the unlucky ones because you don't have a chance to get it all out, or when you do get it out, you're having to wait for that second pass. And we're working real hard, and you can see the dots. We're spreading throughout town. Concentrated on the beach side, concentrated through some of the areas where we have a lot more vegetated debris, a lot more tree canopy, trying to get that picked up and taken care of. So Crowder Gulf has done a great job for us. We started pickup with our own crew. We had 3 or 4 trucks. Those first 3 or 4 days immediately following the storm. we took those people off the duty shortly after Crowder Gulf, simply because each one of those 10 trucks can do more than our 3 or 4 people can do in a day, and so we need them out there doing some more. So they've done a great job. We appreciate everybody's patience. This is not. It seems to test all of us as we takes a while, but it takes a while to get through this, and we really appreciate everybody's patience with us. So if anybody has any other questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sean. Does any commissioner have any questions for Mr. Finley? Commissioner Tolland?
Not at this point. I have some comments at the end, so I guess we'll just wait till the end. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you. We're now at item 5, audience remarks. This is for any items that are not on the agenda, and I do have some cards, and we will start this evening with Mr. Tommy Bozeman.
Thank you for your service, Mrs. Persis. We appreciate it. Done a great job. And I commend the city on doing the best you can to remedy the aftermath of the hurricane. My name is Tommy Bozeman. I live at 2401 Lipizan Trail. I'm also a former City of Ormond Beach firefighter. I live in Durance Acres, and I'm here to talk about the Durance Acres flooding issues. The residents of the area of Ormond Beach, known as Durance Acres, consistently experience flooding of the roadways and property during extended rains and hurricanes, of course. I've handed out a packet that just shows some of the pictures and a map showing the areas that flooded most recently from Hurricane Milton on the first page. The rest of it are just some pictures that were made available to me from the residents in the area. Obviously, I don't have a comprehensive picture package for you on that, but I wanted to give you some ideas of what we're seeing. And this is not new. It's not an isolated issue. It's not a new issue. Same thing happened with Ian. Same thing happens when we get heavy rains, just not quite to the same extent. We are in Zone 1, and just to state that. One issue that has come up within the community is the extensive flooding of roadways, especially on dead-end roads, which there are 2 or 3 out there, and there's some houses that are on themselves are like in dead-end areas. The extensive flooding of these roadways could make them impassable and could result in EMS not being able to respond to residents that may experience a time life-critical emergency during one of these events, making this literally a life or death matter in that situation. I told you, as I said, the flooded roadways are marked on the map. It's not an all-inclusive mapping of the roadways, of the flooding of the roadways. So it's just, like I said, the limited information that I've been given and that I was able to collect myself. Obviously, not just the roadways are affected. Most properties in this area had standing water for several days after the storm, as you can imagine. The existing canals were overrun and spilled over into residential properties as well. Driveways were flooded, and some residents were isolated and unable to exit their properties until the waters began to recede. And this matter has been brought up to the commission or to our commissioner in the past, and we always get we don't take care of the streets and roadways. Well, this is not a roadway issue. This is a stormwater issue, and it's not resulting from runoff of the roadways. It is a result of stormwater. We've also been referred to the county. We have made contact with the county, and they want to put us back to the city. We're in that little wonderful gray area out there where nobody wants to deal with us, and we feel like we just get brushed aside. So we're ready and willing to work together with the city any way we can to seek resolution to this matter, and ask that our honorable deputy mayor and commissioners work with us and maybe have the engineers look at this and see if there's anything we can do. I know you guys did so much with Hand Avenue in that area in the past from 2009, and I know there's a lot involved in that, and I don't expect that much to happen realistically, but we would appreciate something. We've been begging for this for a long time, and yes, our roads are private, but we do pay stormwater fees. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, my information is on my card. Feel free to email me to follow up or anything.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next card I have 4 cards from Jennifer Bright. If the commission's okay with this, I'm not going to give you 3 minutes on each one, if the commission would entertain just giving Ms. Bright an extra 1 minute Would that be fine? Good evening.
Good evening. I'm assuming this is just for the consent items?
Yes, ma'am.
So the first one is Resolution 2024. The city is looking for an additional $236,000 to pay a third-party contractor to do project management on a resolution that was passed on September 18th. I think if we're going to offshore or load our work, this should have been brought up when the project was originally brought before the commission to vote on, and the dollars all presented at one time and not piecemealed together. Resolution 2024-197. This is also the city wanting money. I'm aware the roof is supposedly leaking on the new Performing Arts building. I believe this is the one that had the fire. I've gone through the agenda packet. There's no diagrams, no pictures, no nothing, just an invoice for doing roof repair. I don't know about anybody else, but when you have roof work done, you need pictures or something to validate what you're paying for. I think the citizens would like to see what we're paying for. I would hope our commission would like to see what they're signing off our money to. Resolution 2024-198. This is another project in the agenda packet for $179,000 for equipment repairs. I added up the project validation in the agenda packet. I can only come up with $159,000. I have requested information to where the extra $20,000 to $37,000 is coming from because it's not in the information packet. I have not heard back. The city, once again, I think the citizens would like to know where our money's being sent, and we're putting dollar amounts on projects, and then the documentation doesn't add up to the money they're looking for. I mean, I think we should, it should all add up. The other resolution on the consent agenda that I have questions about is 2024-199. This resolution is a bid amount for $4.5 million. They say the Federal Department of Protection is going to pay for part of it, and our city share is going to come from the Water and Wastewater Bond Fund. I'd like to know where the money in the bond fund came from, since I was told it wasn't from the last bond we passed. Also, this bond is to create infrastructure for future phases of the Hunter's Ridge. We're paying money for a housing tract and houses that don't even exist. There's no projection date of when this job is going to be completed. Is the city even going to charge a penalty if it's not completed on time? If not, it should be. And once again, is the city going to look for third-party project management to manage this project? It's not in here now, but are we going to come back next month or a month down the road and look for more money on this project? Was this also going to benefit Ormond Crossings, another project that's not even off the ground that we're paying for? I feel most of these resolutions need to be placed on hold until the answers to these questions can be presented to the council and to the citizens who pay all these bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, I don't have any further cards. We'll move on to item 6, which is approval of the minutes. The minutes have been sent to the commission for review and posted on the city's website. Are there any additions or corrections?
I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, they stand approved. Item 7 is the consent agenda. The action proposed is stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless the city commissioner removes an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Does any member of the commission wish to pull any agenda item?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Been moved and second. Would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tolland,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley.
Yes. At this time, does any commissioner wish to comment rather on the consent agenda? Okay.
Oh, really?
Okay, we'll move on to item 8, public hearings. We will open the public hearings, and we'll start with item 8A. Susan?
Ordinance number 2024-30, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Performance Standards, Article 4, Sign Regulations, Section 3-47, Business Premises Signs, subsection G, Electronic Changeable Copy Signs of the City of Ormond Beach Land Development Code by expanding the allowance of electronic changeable copy signs and establishing conditions of operations and permitting standards, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2024-30, read by title only.
Thank you, Susan. Does any commissioner have any question at this time? Mr. Spraker? Nothing?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Yep.
Yeah, I just have a
Commissioner Tom-
comment.
Commissioner Tomlin, yes.
I just have a comment. I just want to thank the planning board for taking a look at this again. This has been a topic for a long time, and I know a lot of discussion, and I appreciate the criteria that was applied to this ordinance. That I was most worried that it would be blinking crazy lights and all, and I think the planning board took a lot of care, and the planning department, in making sure that it's going to be a quality project. So I just want to say thank you.
I would concur with those comments. Okay, any further discussion? Susan, would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Persis?
Yes.
Commissioner Tolland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley?
Yes. Okay, 8B, would you please read the title?
Ordinance number 2024-31, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, District and General Regulations, Article 3, General Regulations, Section 2-50, Accessory Uses, subsection W, Outdoor Activities of the City of Ormond Beach Land Development Code to update the conditions and permitting requirements for outdoor activities, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, providing for severability and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2024-31, read by title only.
Thank you. I don't have any cards. Mr. Spraker, do you have anything on this? Okay.
Move approval.
Second?
Moving to second. Any discussion? Susan, would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Tolland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent?
Yes.
Commissioner Persis?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley?
Yes. And at this time, we will close the public hearings and move on to first reading of ordinances, item 9. Susan, would you please read the title?
Ordinance number 2024-35, an ordinance amending Section 2-218, Neighborhood Improvement Advisory Board of Article 6, Boards, Commissions, Committees, and other agencies of Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances by amending the name of the board, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2024-35, read by title only.
Alrighty. And Susan, do you have anything to add to this?
No, it's just that it's been requested to change the name. It'd be less confusing. The advisory board has discussed it, and they're requesting the change, and they have had citizens attend, and they're confused. They think they're coming to talk about code enforcement items, and it's not.
Very good. No cards. Any discussion?
Move approval.
Second.
We moved and seconded. Susan, would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Sargent?
Yes.
Commissioner Persis?
Yes.
Commissioner Tolland?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley?
Yes. Okay, item 10, the second reading of ordinances. Item 10A, Susan, would you read the title, please?
Ordinance number 2024-32, an ordinance amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 by amending the General Fund 001, Downtown Redevelopment Trust Fund 104, Stormwater Utility Fund 107, Airport Fund 108, Economic Development Fund 110, Pension Contribution Pass-Through Fund 113, Recreation Facility Fee Fund 115, Financing Debt Service Fund 205, Capital Improvements Fund 301, Equipment Renewal and Replacement Fund 302, Public Safety Vehicle and Equipment Fund 305, Transportation Improvements Fund 308, Facilities Renewal and Replacement Fund 317, Leisure Services Capital Fund 322, Water and Wastewater Fund 401, Vehicle Replacement Fund 408, Renewal and Replacement Fund 409, West Ormond Reuse Impact Fee Fund 433, Water System Impact Fee Fund 434, Wastewater System Impact Fee Fund 435, 2024 Water and Wastewater Bonds, and the General Liability Fund 504, and setting forth an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2024-32, read by title only.
Thank you, Susan. I have on this one Kelly McGuire. Do you need to speak to us on this? Okay.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Susan, would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Commissioner Tolland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley.
Yes. And we're on to item 10B. Susan, would you please read the title?
Ordinance number 2024-33, an ordinance of the City of Ormond Beach, Florida, amending Article 4, Police Officers Pension Trust Fund of Chapter 16, Pensions and Retirement of the Code of Ordinances, amending Section 16-74, Finances and Fund Management, Establishment and Operation of Fund, providing for severability of provisions, providing for codification, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. This is the second reading of ordinance number 2024-33, read by title only.
Thank you, Susan. Kelly, do you have anything on this? Okay. You just, no cards, need a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Susan, would you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Tolland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent,
Yes.
Commissioner Persis,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Briley.
Yes. And item 11 was pulled by staff, so we'll move on to item number 12, which is reports, suggestions, and requests. And we'll start this evening with City Manager Joyce Shanahan.
Good thing we're getting upgraded technology.
Thank you again.
That will help.
On Friday is, no, Thursday, November 7th, from 12 to 2 p.m. is the Veterans Day Luncheon at the Senior Center. The event consists of a short program, music, and lunch. Veterans tickets are free and may be purchased, and they may purchase guest tickets for $7. Tickets are limited. Reserve yours at the Leisure Service Department by calling 386-676-3250. Co-ed youth basketball begins for registration. This program is open for children from 5 to 14 and will run from November to February. Registration is available online or in person. And let's see. I wanted to update you on the tennis center. You know, there have been some questions about damage that the tennis center has received. The tennis center lighting will apply for a racing and recreation grant. There are some emergency repairs necessary to the tennis center clay, and that will go through FEMA, and that will be considered a FEMA project. The next commission meeting on November 19th is the meeting where the new mayor and commissioners will take office. There will be a reception from 5:30 to 6 p.m. for the commission, their family, and guests. The meeting will begin sharply at 6 p.m., and it is an organizational meeting only, and no business will be conducted. And I don't have anything further unless you have questions of me.
Thank you. Joyce, any questions for the city manager? Okay, very good. Assistant Manager Sean Bentley.
Thank you. I've got one quick thing that I want to bring to your attention tonight. There has recently been a change to the lead and copper rule by the federal EPA. One of the things that requires us, as well as all community water systems across the nation, to do is to create a service line inventory. We want to know what we have, what our citizens have on both our side of the meter as well as their side of the meter for those services that go to their homes. Whether it's plastic, whether it's galvanized, whether it's lead. And what we had to do is we had to provide our initial inventory to them by October 16, 2024. The next step beyond that is to notify everyone who either has a lead service or has an unknown service of that status on our inventory. We will then be required to update those inventories annually. One of the things that we have here is we have to date verified that 9,157 of our services are without a doubt don't contain lead. We have found none that contain lead, and we have none that are galvanized requiring replacement because they would have had lead solder used with those. We still have about 15,000 that are unknown, and the main thing about those are services on properties that were constructed before 1989, which is when the rule change and outlawed lead from a material and from lead solder being used. EPA requires us to have that list publicly accessible, and requires us to notify those of our customers of the status, whether it has a lead service line, whether it's galvanized requiring replacement, or whether it is unknown. So what we've done is we've created a flyer to send to our residents, and they'll be getting those this week because we're about 30 days past that. The big thing that we want to kind of stress to everyone is that across the state of Florida, there is a very low incidence of lead that has been used in construction. We have found no incidences to date of any of our services that contain lead. And one of the things it's an interesting article I wrote. Florida, and through the construction booms of the 50s and 60s and 70s, was fortunate that some of those homes and some of those services were done a little bit cheaper. Lead was a more expensive option, so lead was not widely used for that purpose. So we really don't see a whole lot of lead being used throughout the state. If you see on the graphic that I have there, in the middle there is the yellow the meter box. On the left, on the street side of it, that's where we're looking at as our service area. That's our responsibility. On the right is the home side of it. That would be the responsibility of the homeowner. One of the things that we're going to do is we will be visually inspecting. Some communities are putting the responsibility of that inspection and that inventory on their homeowners. The city of Orm Beach, our staff, our utilities folks are going to be going out there and doing that inspection and that inventory on our own. There is not a date that's been set for a drop dead. We just have to continually be doing it. We have to be taking the time to update it, and we will update it on an annual year. What we have done so far is we have visually inspected high priority areas in those of our vulnerable populations: schools, assisted living facilities, daycares, preschools. We wanted to make sure that we knew without a shadow of a doubt that those users did not have that did not have a risk at those going to those establishments. So we're establishing a website that provides information, resources, steps on how the resident can identify if they are curious, some frequently asked questions, and some contact information. We've set up a phone number specific to this program and an email address specific to this program where we will answer it and answer people's questions. And then finally we'll update that list inventory annually. What are some of the things that we do proactively? We have a 2-inch water main replacement program that we've been doing for about 12 years now. We're on phase 5 of that. Each year when we do those water main replacements, those 2-inch lines, we don't just replace those antiquated lines that are giving our people pressure problems, color problems, taste problems. We're also replacing the services in those areas. So we've replaced a number of services, a couple thousand services through that program already. We maintain a corrosion control program. As you go through an annual year where we have some of our purchase, we do a corrosion inhibitor. We add that to our water. It is a food grade substance that is tasteless, odorless, colorless, that helps to create a corrosion inhibitor inside the pipes and reduces the incidence, if there was lead, by about 90%. Again, we haven't found any incidents where we have lead, so hopefully that goes the extra step. Finally, we perform water quality samples in accordance with federal regulations. So every June you get your water quality report, and one of the things on there is lead and copper. We take those samples at points of service, at people's homes, and we consistently do not exceed the maximum contaminant level, and are in fact well below that. One of the descriptions of that maximum contaminant level, which is the level that EPA sets, that I think kind of hits it home, is that level that they set it at is the level that if you were to drink 2 liters of water a day, every day for your entire lifetime, you would have a 1 in a million chance of having health effects. And I say that not to belittle that, but and to think that there really isn't a harm. But I think I like to look at it from the other way. Even though there is that chance, we still take these steps to go above and beyond to make sure that we eliminate those things from our system, that we are consistently doing things to help everybody out, and to have the best system for delivery. So this is the flyer that residents will be getting this week. If you live in a house that was constructed before 1987, you too may be getting one of these. Don't be alarmed. It doesn't mean that you're in danger of lead poisoning. It doesn't mean that there is an issue. This is just one of the steps that we have, and this is how we want to reach out to people and make sure. And this is required. The language on here, there's a lot of verbiage on here. This is all federally mandated language that we need to put on that letter to make sure that people understand the seriousness of it and what we're doing. So we just, before our residents receive this, we wanted to make sure that you were aware that what was going on. And if you get any questions, feel free to ask myself or any of our staff. Feel free to point them to us. On that letter is the phone number and the email address for people to contact our staff directly. We're there to answer questions, and we're there to make this better. While I've got them here, I've got 3 gentlemen in the last row there. Those are the guys that are responsible for it. We've got our utilities manager, Bob Priest. We've got our utilities engineer, Mike Stevenson, and we've got the project manager, Trevor Neal. These gentlemen have worked very hard on this. I'm up here doing very little here. Those guys are the ones who are taking care of our system. Those are the ones who are taking care of our residents. They're making sure that we follow these steps to meet compliance as we always do day to day. So if anybody has any questions,
No question. Well, just a comment. I'm wondering if it wouldn't be smart if we had public information put out on social media of what we're doing, and then the phone number to contact.
And that's one. Thank you. We appreciate. That's one of the things Jen's going to be doing here. We want to have that information.
Thank you.
I should have included Jen in those 3 because Jen played a very important role. What you see there, Jen has let us know that this is not her best work. Partly because the verbiage that we have to put in it is not very, it's not very flowery language. It's very technical language that is required by law to be put on there. Jen has helped us put this together. She's helped us with the website. She's helped us to be able to get that message out there. But I appreciate the suggestion, but Jen doesn't let us go. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Finley? Sean, I'd just like to say I'm really pleased that Ormond Beach is going the extra mile with our lead pipe inventory program. We're not just focusing on the city side of the meter, but also the homeowner side, and letting them know that how they can get clarity on their homes plumbing side as well. We've seen other cities leave this task to their residents with a self-inventory, and that can be confusing and overwhelming process. By handling both sides, we're easing the burden and making sure our community feels supported and well-informed every step of the way as we comply with these national inventory requirements. But that's the Ormond Beach way, and that's what we do for our residents, and it reflects on our commitment to putting residents first and reducing the unnecessary stress. And I think that's something we can all be proud of. Thank you. Okay, next is City Attorney Randy Hayes. All righty. And tonight we will start with Commissioner Tolley.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Just briefly, I just want to share with a couple things that I've attended that may be different from what you guys will be talking about. I did attend the Regrow the Loop 2025. It's been reestablished. It's been established. It's now the 2025 version. It's an offspring of Regrow Volusia County. It's been spearheaded by the Scenic Loop and Trail folks, and many of the same stakeholders from the original group are involved, including like the Audubon Society, Tomoka State Park, Dream Green, Volusia County, some arborists, the UF Extension Office. So it's they're in the process of planning their calendar and providing programs to the residents to continue the good work that started last year. I do want to say that I 100% enjoyed the Employee Appreciation Day. It was very fun-filled and very sincere, and I really do hope that the employees do know how much they are appreciated in our town. It definitely takes a village for us to do the things that we do, and we have the best village. I'm also looking forward to round 2 of the Florida League of Cities Public Policy on Utilities and Public Works and Natural Resources, which is this Friday. And I will be reporting back to you, not in 2 weeks, but in the following week, since we don't do business that week. Now, I do have I had a request, and I thought that the timing of the flooding report from Mr. Finley was just perfect, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the flooding. Due to the number of residents that I know have reached out to me post-storm, and I'm probably guessing you all have gotten quite a few calls as well, and we had the resident today, Mr. Bosman. I'm just wondering, as a commission, if we can have a continued discussion about the future regarding flooding within our city. I have some questions, and Mr. Finley alluded to quite a bit today, but some of them would be when, I'm sure we had a study, when was that last study, and does that need to be updated? How much money do we collect monthly and annually in our stormwater fees? And then how much money do we actually apply for from state and federal resources? And then how far does that money go with addressing the list of projects that we have in the city? I know a couple years, well, I think it was the first year I got on the commission, Ormond Lakes was talking about their flooding issues. And I was told that they were going to be like the first area to be addressed. And shame on me, I haven't followed up to find out where we are with that. But I know we have different areas that we're concerned with, and it was alluded to on those maps. I would love to see all of that information kind of in the same spot. And along with that same thought, what about the sewer projects? I know during the storm, we had a main break, I think 3 separate times on Riverside, and sewage was just going into someone's house. And, that nobody wants that. And, are we just patching things up, or is it time to replace? So those are the questions I'm asking, and I'd like to get, some information on that. Maybe if I have those questions, maybe some of the other commissioners do as well. Let's see. And then I'm not sure if everybody received the request from Alan Burton talking about the open space and recreation and renaming leisure services to parks and recreation. And I don't know if you can respond, but anyway, at some point, I'm going to bring that back up since you all are looking at me like a deer in the headlight. Okay. Finally, last comment. I just want to say congratulations to all the candidates that ran for election this year. It takes a leap of faith to allow yourself to be vulnerable and open to scrutiny in the public eye. I think we've all learned this year more than ever how brutal that process can be on the national and the local level. To all of those that didn't win their race, I hope that you can find peace in a plan bigger than them and continue to serve others. Susan, I will miss serving with you on the dais, and I wish you all the best as you move to your next adventure, which I'm sure will include a lot more time of being a grandma. And to Jason, congratulations on winning your race. There's much to learn, and you have a commission that serves well. And with that, I'll say goodnight.
Thank you, Commissioner Tallon. Commissioner Sargent.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would be interested in maybe doing a workshop or whatever we need to do on flooding or to get those answers, Commissioner Dolan. I think it's very important. We've made great strides over the years, but obviously I think we need to look at how we can even do better. I had the opportunity to have coffee with Dwight Durant from Zeph Cohen last week to discuss flooding issues. Wow, I learned a lot in 30 minutes. So when a road floods and water's in the road, that means the engineer's work has done its job. It's when it's in the houses that we have to really be concerned. And he shared a story of the Speedway, when that flooded back in '09, it was done on purpose to prevent the residents and the businesses around it from flooding. So they took in all that water, took a whole lot of media that said, oh my gosh, we're flooded, and then they were able to pump it all out, and that neighboring area was great. I still think we need to look at having an inlet at High Bridge to alleviate some of the flow of the water along the intercoastal waterway. I know that's federal and state and a lot of other partnerships that would need to come into play to get this accomplished, but I think that now's the time to start looking at it. We have great leadership in Tallahassee, we have great leadership in DC. I think now's the time to start pushing some of these projects forward. Several years ago, I think almost on a yearly basis, Councilman Kemp, when he was a commissioner, would bring up how we needed to get rid of fluoride in our water system. And recently on September 24th of this year, a federal court in California ruled that the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, must strengthen regulations on fluoride in drinking water. The court found that the current levels of fluoride in the U.S. drinking water of 0.7 milligrams per liter poses an unreasonable risk to the public health, especially to the development of brains in children. The court's ruling was based on a trial in 2020. So I'm just wondering if this is something, once again, we need to look at as a commission in this upcoming year. This ruling, this court order or the lawsuit was in 2017. I just think that, 7 years later that it took to get a ruling? How many kids were affected? How many kids could have been prevented from having this brain issues, whatever they might have been? I mean, do we want to wait another 7 years, or do we want to start doing something now? So just want to throw that out there as we move forward. What else did I have? The flooding, we already talked about that. I think we need to also look at our drainage, the maintenance program of cleaning out those pipes. We do a great job, like I said, but we always can do better. Lastly, Susan, thank you. It's been great serving with you up here, and obviously y'all are going to have a good time, you and Carl, and then the next step of life, and enjoy. Best wishes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sargent. We're going to go a little bit out of order here. Commissioner Persis has asked if she could be the last speaker, if that's what if you'd like. So I'll go ahead and just make my closing comments. Kind of funny you mentioned that, Commissioner Sargent, after Commissioner, and I had thought about this, Commissioner Tolland, about the flooding issue. Joyce perhaps trying to have maybe in the future commission having a workshop on that. I think it'd be good just for us and our residents to know what steps the city takes prior to a storm event like this coming. I know that our city, and I think Sean can correct me if I'm wrong, we actually went around and did some proactive things like pumping down some retention ponds to make room for the water we knew we had coming. And even to know, what like maintenance schedules we have on our drainage ditches around the city, kind of digging those out to make room, to make sure they're effective storm or drainage ditches. So I think that'd just be great information to have. Next, the Employee Appreciation Day was fantastic at the Nova Gym. Thank you for city staff for putting that on. We certainly appreciate our employees, and it shows the only change I would ask that we make in the future is just, I'd rather the city commission, if it's okay with the commission, I'd rather us eat last. I'd rather have our employees go first, just to show them that we really appreciate them. Mayor Partington and I were able to do a proclamation last Thursday for Dr. Thomas Martin at the University of Florida. We did that. Dr. Martin is a very good heart surgeon, one of the finest in the state of Florida. He performed a pretty complicated heart surgery on me back in 2019 and for Mrs. Partington in 2022. So we just want to express our appreciation to him from the city. We presented him with a proclamation and the key to the city. Mayor Partington and I also participated in the Hometown Heroes drive-through luncheon on Saturday at the Senior Center. It was well attended. A lot of folks came out. We actually had a special coin, commemorative coin we gave to each of the veterans that came through. And city staff, as always, did a great job with that. And lastly, Commissioner Persis, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been very rewarding serving with you, sitting next to you. Appreciate all the hard work and the contributions you've given to our city, not only as a city commissioner, but as an advisory board member and just overall as a resident. And we're going to miss you on the commission, but I do know that you and Carl have that time to spend with those grandchildren and do some traveling, and we wish you all the best. So thank you very much, and with that, I'll pass it to you.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Briley. Appreciate it, and I appreciate all the comments from you, Commissioner Tullen and Commissioner Sargent. You all know how I feel about you. You'll always be in my heart and my friends. I will always care about you. But I have a statement that I'd like to make tonight, so I'm going to start now. Good evening, everyone. As this is my last meeting as your city commissioner, I wanted to take a moment to reflect and express my gratitude. Serving the people of Ormond Beach has been an incredible honor and a responsibility I have carried with the utmost respect and commitment. I want to thank my colleagues on the commission, our dedicated city staff, and the amazing first responders we have here in Ormond Beach. And I hope you first responders know, Chief back there, and Nate and Chris, you all are my favorite. I hate to say it, but they are my favorite, and I think they know it, and you always will be, and thank you for everything. But the first responders we have in Ormond Beach, and to each of you in the community who have been part of this journey. Together, we've faced challenges, celebrated victories, and worked toward a shared vision for the city we all love. Although I won't continue in this role, my heart will always be with Ormond Beach, and I remain deeply invested in our future. I am confident that the progress we've made will continue, and I am hopeful for the leadership that will guide us forward. Thank you for the trust you placed in me, and thank you for allowing me the privilege of serving. This may be a farewell from the commission, but it is not a farewell from this community. I look forward to serving Ormond Beach in new ways, and I will always be here to support its success. Thank you all, and may Ormond Beach continue to thrive. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Persis, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.